Are you a person who arranges the blocks that descend upon you from up above? Lots of you like to play Tetris, and after a while it gets really boring, and you need something else to play. So, I have a solution for that. Play Mahjong. While Mahjong is fairly difficult to learn, after you master the basics, it can be really addicting. So today I'll start with a short history of Mahjong, then talk about some different variations. After that, I'll introduce the tiles, show you how to set up a game, and ultimately how to play the game. So first of all, a history. Unfortunately, the origins of Mahjong are uncertain. There are several myths that say Confucius invented the game, but since there is no written evidence before 1850, it was unlikely that he did. Many other people believe that Mahjong originated from a card game called Ma Diao, which means hanging horses. The pictures in the card game closely resemble the pictures on Mahjong tiles. However, the card game has 4 suits of 9, and Mahjong only has 3 suits. And so there are several other theories, but too many to talk about today. So currently Mahjong, it's still debated of how it was invented. Mahjong was introduced to the US in 1920 when Abercrombie & Fitch imported over 10,000 sets from China and sold them in New York City. So with Mahjong being played around the world, people are bound to make changes to the game, and that's what they did. So today there are over 100 different variations, each city having its own and communities having their own. So the most popular variations are Chinese classical Mahjong, Cantonese Mahjong, Taiwanese Mahjong, Sichuanese Mahjong, Japanese Mahjong, Korean Mahjong, and American Mahjong. So I'm going to teach you how to play the simplest form of Sichuan Mahjong, which is easy to learn and a great starting point for beginners. Sichuan Mahjong only requires 4 players and the 3 basic suits. The first suit is Tong, which means stone, circle, or wheel. 1 Tong is said to represent an ancient Chinese coin, like one of these coins with a square hole in the middle. So the second suit is called a Qiao, which means string or bamboo. A Qiao is said to represent a string of 100 coins. So like one of these, except it has 100 coins tied together instead of just 5 or 6. And lastly, the third and final suit is Wan, which means 10,000. And a Wan is basically 10,000 coins, so 100 strings of 100 coins each. So each suit has pieces numbered 1 to 9. Oh, right. So this is a Tong, like there's just circles, and 1 to 9. And this is Tiao, which is like bamboo. The first one is a bird, which is different than the other pieces. And the last one is Wan. These are hard to remember the number because you have to know Chinese numbers to recognize what the piece is. So each of these suits have pieces numbered 1 through 9, and there's 4 of each piece. So that's a total of 108 pieces. Alright, so now how to set up a game. So Ben, Sean, and George. So most of the times players will set a tablecloth, which makes sliding tiles easier and reduces the noise because lots of people like to slam it down sometimes. And so first of all you have to shuffle the pieces. So you would shuffle them face down, like this. And so after they're sufficiently shuffled, you make a wall of tiles. Each player makes a wall. So, yeah. So walls are basically 2 stacks of 2 put together. And since we have 108 tiles, there's going to be 2 walls of 13 stacks and 2 walls of 14. So, whenever you're done your wall. Alright, cool. So, after you make your wall, Alright, so you'd slide your walls to the center to form a square. So, just slide it to the middle. And so, once the walls are made, George, you want to move out of the way? Not really. Okay, so after you make your wall, each player rolls a dice, and whoever rolls highest is the dealer. So, Sean, you're gonna roll first. A 9, 6, 7, and 8. So Sean would be the dealer because he rolled the highest number. So Sean would roll again, and this number decides where to start dealing. So since he rolled a 3, you want to start counting from him counterclockwise. So 1, 2, 3. So you start dealing from this wall. And then you count, since you rolled a 3, you count 3 stacks in from counting clockwise. So 1, 2, 3. And you start here. So dealing is each person takes 4 at a time. Going and taking the pieces counterclockwise? No, 4 pieces, not 8. So 4. And so the players continue to take the pieces until each player has 12 pieces from there. And so once you have 12 pieces, each player takes 1 more piece. So a total of 13 pieces from here. This one. One piece.
Yeah, 1.
And so after that, it's alright. Okay, so once every person has 13 pieces, tiles, you can start the game. So the game is turn-based, and it's basically a person draws a tile from the wall, going counterclockwise, and then discards a piece that they don't need. So, alright, so sometimes after a player discards, you can call for a piece, which basically, to complete a meld. And a meld is a certain set of tiles. There are 3 kinds of melds. One is a pung, which is 3 identical tiles. Oh, where's the pen? No. Alright, so like 3 identical pieces. These are 3 examples of them. And so the second type, you can pung after any player discards a piece. And to do this, you first need 2 of a piece, and then after they discard the 3rd piece, then you can call for it. So the second type of meld is called a gong, which is a set of 4 identical pieces, like this. These are some examples. And so you can gong after any person discards, but you need to have 3 of them, and after they discard the 4th piece, or you draw the 4th piece, then you can gong. And when you do this, you take an extra tile from the from the end of the wall, and then after that you discard another piece and play continues. So the 3rd and final type of piece is called a tsu, or also known as eat. This is a set of 3 suited pieces in sequence, like these, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They can also be like 5, 6, 7, or any 3 in sequence. So you can only eat a piece when the person before you discards a piece. So say Ben discards a piece, and if I wanted to, I could eat that piece. And so those are the 3 types of melds, and to win you need 4 melds and a pair. So this is an example of a winning hand, where you have, let's say, 2 sets of 3 identical pieces, 1 set of 4, and 1 sequence. Even though it's not in sequence there, it's still 4, 5, 6. So, and also you can win by 7 pairs, which is very uncommon since you can't call for any pieces, and you have to get it by just drawing pieces on your own. And so, alright, sometimes a player will win by 自摸, which means self-draw, and the translation basically describes it. Player wins by drawing the tile they need from the wall. So after a player wins, the game ends, and if you were scoring points, now would be the time when you score points. So if you're gambling, which I hope you aren't, you would exchange money. Sometimes, lots of times players like to gamble in this game, but they don't want to use real money. So they'll use like something like poker chips, like these, just poker chips, or playing cards, like playing cards, instead of money. And so after the points are assigned and the currency is exchanged, the tiles can be reshuffled and a new game can begin. So in conclusion, Mahjong is definitely not easy to learn. It takes a while to get accustomed to the rules and even longer to learn strategy. I started playing Mahjong several years ago, and I'm still trying to improve. But all you need to know are the basics to have fun. And since I already taught you the basics, all you need to do now is play the game. So next time, instead of playing Tetris, you should go play a game of Mahjong.